Hi guys, how's it going? Today I'll film my quarterly wrap up. I will show you guys and talk a little bit about 13 books I read in July, August and until the middle of September. So I will start from my least favorite books to my favorite ones. My least favorite book was The Pied Piper of Hamelin by Robert Browning, this little Everyman's children's classic. This edition is really nice. It is illustrated by Kate Greenaway. I love her style and it's fully illustrated with really nice color illustrations. So this is the plus of this book. But the story itself, I didn't care for it, didn't care for the characters, the Pied Piper of Hamelin and the story, and I haven't enjoyed it, and I didn't know the ending of this story. The version I knew was completely different and, to be honest, better than this Robert Browning tale, and it wasn't the best reading of my last 3 months. So that's it. But the edition itself is really nice. I really enjoy it. The illustrations are cool. Next, I've read The Ice Dragon by George R.R. Martin. It's not clear if this book is set in the same world of A Song of Ice and Fire. Some people have told me that he had stated that no, it isn't the same world, but the story itself doesn't make it clear. But the story itself it wasn't special. I expected much more because George R.R. Martin, in my opinion, is one of the best fantasy authors nowadays. I really enjoy his work with A Song of Ice and Fire, and I expected a little more depth into this story here. I still recommend it if you enjoy George R. R. Martin, and it's kind of cute, but I expected much more. This is number 12 of 13. Next, I read a book in Portuguese, but this book is originally written in French. The author is Maurice Druon. The name is Tisto, the Boy with Green Thumbs. Yeah, this is the title in English. So this book has many similarities when you compare it with The Little Prince. Okay, so if you enjoy The Little Prince, you will probably like this book here. And this edition was illustrated by a Brazilian artist called Walter Lara, and the illustrations are really nice. I really enjoyed this edition. I really enjoyed the story. I wasn't a big fan of the ending. That was the biggest problem I had with this story, but the story itself is really nice. It's about a boy called Tisto, and he is really special. He couldn't fit into like a regular school, so he has a father and a mother. They were really rich, and they started educating the boy with the help of two of their employees. And so the boy started learning lots of things about society, about order, about rules, and he is disagreeing with things, and he has a special gift with plants. I'll not spoil this story, but I strongly recommend it if you enjoy. Light's crazy right now, but let's move on. If you enjoy The Little Prince, give Chisto, the Boy with Green Thumbs, a go, because I think you will enjoy. Next, a book that many people seem to love, The Picture of Dorian Gray. The story itself is nice. You never know what will happen, and this was nice, but it wasn't like, oh my god, it's the best book I've read. No, it isn't, but it was really enjoyable, and I strongly recommend it if you haven't read it. I think this is one of those books that you must read. I always felt like this, and I'm really glad I finally did it. The story is brilliant and the style is just amazing. Next, by Ursula K. Le Guin, I read A Wizard of Earthsea, this beautiful Folio Society copy here, and I really enjoyed this story. It was my first book by Ursula K. Le Guin, and I was always really interested on her work, but somehow I postponed reading her stories a lot. The second book I want to read by her is the Left Hand of Darkness, which I have here. Left Hand of Darkness, this Penguin Galaxy edition. I look forward to reading it. But A Wizard of Earthsea is like a young adult fantasy story, but not young adult as we know today, okay? It's a book that was intended to younger readers. She was like really reticent about writing for younger readers, but she managed to create like this tale about a character which is young, like this path of the hero, you know. He's growing up, he's learning how to use his gift, his powers, but he does something and he ended up with a big problem. I love the ending. I love, you know, the idea behind the growth of the character. I love the world building. It's simple but it's realistic, and I have a personal theory that in this book Ursula K. Le Guin, she started this grim dark fantasy, you know. There's this style that is really strong and really popular right now of writing fantasy with some realistic feelings and characters that have, you know, a good and a bad side, and these two sides, they are mixed into the persona of the character. So next, I recently read Jane Eyre manga, a manga adaptation of Jane Eyre, which was really nice, was cool. There are two scenes that are completely made up for the adaptation. Their explanation of the author here, why she did it, but I thought it was completely unnecessary. And when it comes to adaptations, I want a high level of fidelity, and it was like nice adaptation. The artwork is nice. There is this feeling of manga, something really sometimes immature, but I recommend it to younger readers. It is a nice way to get to know the story itself, but it doesn't compare to the original, of course. Next, I've read finally Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This amazing copy here. I have a video showing this copy if you want to see more details about it. It's absolutely stunning. A story is told from the point of view of a woman who is married to a guy who used to be married to this Rebecca. So everything we know about Rebecca is told by her point of view. That's totally unfair, and we can't trust the narrator, you know. But somehow I wish the author could manage to tell us more about the real Rebecca and the real backstory, you know, because the narrator is totally biased. And the way the narrator accepts some things that have happened, it's unreal, it's crazy, it's absolutely crazy. And I was like, what? This is your reaction? No, you can't be serious. It doesn't make sense. So the second half, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I understand the intention of the author, and overall, the book is kind of brilliant, you know. Next, I have by Philip Pullman, Lyra's Oxford. It's a really short story, but I really enjoy being with Lyra and Pantaleon again. I really enjoy these characters. I wish Will were in this story because he is my favorite character from his Dark Materials, and I am so excited for the Book of Dust that will be released in October, and I enjoyed this story. I really enjoyed it. I know it's kind of really simplistic, but at the same time it delivers all those feelings of his Dark Materials, and if you haven't read his Dark Materials, you must read it because it's just amazing. Next, now we are starting with my favorite books of the last 3 months. Book number 4, Daddy Longlegs. Oh my god, this book by Jean Webster is absolutely amazing. When you look at this edition, you think, oh, this is a children's book, you know, for young readers because of this drawing here, so childish. But this book tells a story of a 17-year-old orphan girl who goes to the college, and there is someone paying for her to study. And the only thing this person who is paying for her expenses there wants is a letter a month telling about the things she is learning. And this is a epistolar romance. All we know about this story, we know from the letters Jerusha writes. The story is really surprising. If you enjoy beautiful, beautiful romance, I strongly recommend this book. Next, oh my god, this book was really nice. Here we have On the Eve by Ivan Turgenev. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly because he deserves all my praising. I will feature this book in my September recommendation video because oh my god, this book was awesome. Absolutely awesome. The book is set in Russia because, you know, it's a Russian author, and there a beautiful romance here, and the relationship between the main characters is awesome. Here we have a tale about love, about friendship, about the feeling in life that you have a mission, that you have something important to accomplish, and there are, you know, this idealism and thoughts about nature and life, and everything works fine. I don't have a single criticism about this book, you know. The ending is a bit sad, but you don't feel sadness, you know, you feel joy because it is an amazing experience as a reader to be able to read something like this. This work to me is brilliant, and the backstory of this book is the author second-guessed himself, and he almost threw the manuscript into the fire, and a friend of him catched the manuscript, or, you know, the original draft, and saved the romance because he thought it was brilliant, and I couldn't agree more. This book is really, really brilliant. Definitely I must read, and I'm really glad I got this edition here because the illustrations are amazing too. I really enjoyed it. Next, guess what? A Game of Thrones. There are many things here that I completely forgot, and this book is brilliant. I love George R. R. Martin. If you enjoy fantasy, this is the best you can get nowadays, you know. Best contemporary stuff you can get, in my opinion. I love the way he uses different point of view to tell this story. I find his prose, his style, his dialogues absolutely amazing. And George R. R. Martin is one of my favorite authors nowadays because when I read it, when I read his work, I'm always like, come on, this guy's brilliant, and he knows his stuff, you know. He knows how to write fantasy really well. I don't think it's possible enjoying fantasy and not enjoying this book. If you enjoy fantasy and you hate A Game of Thrones, let me know because I just can't understand. This book is brilliant, really nice stuff. And my favorite book of this quarterly wrap-up is another book I've read before. After I read it the first time this year, I was in a big reading slump because it was so good. I loved it so much that I couldn't find another book to read and be satisfied. So I got a Folio Society copy, a second-hand Folio Society copy, and I read it again. This is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. I have a video talking about this book. I'll not repeat myself, but from these 13 books I read in the last 2.5 months, this is still my favorite of this bunch, and I read many nice things. This is how much I love this story, how much I love these characters and the setting, and Elizabeth Gaskell's style. I strongly recommend it. So this was my quarterly wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. See you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.